Okay, 6.3 I have out for us. All right, I can classify triangles and find angle measures in a triangle. This is CO3. We're kind of switching gears. That's why I wanted to do that checkup yesterday, just to kind of see where we were. Okay, we got a lot of vocabulary. It's not going to be new vocabulary. You guys have seen this before. But now I'm going to ask you to use it to identify triangles. Acute angle. What's an acute angle? An acute angle is small, less than 90 degrees. You see a puppy and you go, oh, it's so cute. Acute, it's little, it's tiny. Okay? Right angle means it measures exactly 90 degrees. Obtuse means it's a big angle. It measures greater than 90, but less than 180. And a straight angle is a straight line. It just measures 180 degrees. You're going to be classifying triangles by angle and by sides. These are all your angles. Okay. Equilateral. Now this is by sides. An equilateral triangle is when all sides are equal. So, and they can do that. I want you to look at this right here. Everyone see that triangle I just circled? Do you see how they've got lines on each one? That's indicating that they are the same length. You might see it that way. You might see it like this where they're indicating with two lines. If they do that, that means all of those with those lines on it, they're the same length. They might list the numbers. Isosceles is where two sides are the same. Again, can be indicated by these lines, but only two sides are the same. And the last one's called scalene. Scalene is when none of the sides are the same. Okay. I want you to use your vocabulary. You look at it. I want you to see how many of these you can name. Okay? So I will give you an example. This is an obtuse. I know it's an obtuse triangle because it has a number, an angle greater than 90. So I would say this is obtuse. And now I'm going to look at the side lengths. How many side lengths are the same? In this one? 2. So I look up here, isosceles. So this is an obtuse isosceles triangle. I want you to see if you can name the other two. You're supposed to be trying B and C by looking at your vocabulary. Okay. What type of angle's in here? 90 degrees. So we call that a right. Because it has that 90 degrees right here. Are any of the side lengths the same? So we call that a what? It's pronounced scalene. All right. This one here, look at your angles. Are they all smaller than 90? So we call that an acute. But what do you notice about the side lengths? They're all the same. So we call that an equilateral. So you're going to be classifying it by the angle measure and the sides. Does that make sense? Yes, ma'am.
The question we have is for B, would that be acute because the bottom is less than 60?
No, you go by the biggest angle. So like this one over here, even look at A. See, you had 30 and 30, but you have to go by your biggest angle. No, that square in the bottom is 90.
Right here. This right here, can you have a scale like this?
Yes. Yes. What other questions do we have? Those are great questions. You're always going to classify it by the angle. Go ahead, Kyler. Angle and the side length. Do I need more? Right behind you. Yep. Okay. Let's go ahead and let's try these two. Now that we've went over it, let's try these two. What's this box mean? What's this box mean right here? How many degrees does that measure? 90. So try to classify those two. We'll wait for Hayden to get back. All right, what do you guys got for me here? Let's classify it by the angle first. What is this? Right. Now look at the side lengths. Are any of them the same? So we would call it a right what? Scalene. All right, let's look at this one. Look at your angle measure. Is it acute, right, or obtuse? Obtuse. And how many side lengths are the same? Two. So what do we call that? Isosceles. Did I spell that right? I don't remember how to spell it sometimes. I did. And I will give you a word bank. I won't expect you to just come up with those. Okay, I gave you all a triangle, right? Grab that triangle. I want you to hold it at the 90-degree angle. So here is my 90-degree angle, right? I want you to hold it right there. Put your finger on it. I want you to tear off one corner. So I'm holding it at the 90-degree angle. I want you to tear off this corner. Just rip it off. And it doesn't have to be neat and pretty. Just rip it off. Okay? Don't tear the 90-degree. Tear this one. So I'm holding at the 90-degree, and I'm tearing this long one off. Just tear it off. Okay? Now I'm still holding at the 90-degree, and I want you to tear off the top angle. Okay? Everyone done that? Now, you should have something that looks like this, right? Got pieces? I want you to make a straight line with this, kind of as it's shown at the bottom there. I want you to make me a straight line where all the pieces, this is not a straight line. This does not work because I got gaps. I don't want any gaps. Try to make me a straight line. All the angle corners have to touch. So this one, my angle corner, this is an angle, this is an angle, and this is an angle. They all have to be touching. I want all the angles touching. Do you see how that makes a straight line? How many degrees are in a straight line from one end to the other? So how many degrees are in a triangle? Because I just made a straight line with all my angles. So how many degrees are in a triangle? 180. I just took my angles and I made a straight line. There are 180 degrees in every triangle. Does that make sense? Okay. Go ahead and set your triangle off to the side. And we're going to flip over the page. We've done part of our content objective. The first part of our content objective says I can classify triangles. Have we classified triangles by the side length and the angle now? Yes. The second part of my content objective says find angle measures in a triangle. So that's what we're going to focus on now. So how many degrees are in a triangle? 180. So saying this plus this should give me 180. So I'm going to write that. 80 plus 65 plus x equals 180. I'm going to combine my like terms. Minus 145, minus 145, I get that x equals 35 degrees. Now am I going to double check that? Yeah, I am. Because they're not going to stay this simple. So I know that gives me 145 plus 35 gives me 180. How many degrees are in triangle? 180. Every time you actually add a side length, so if I were to jump up to a square, I'd add 180 degrees because now there'd be 2 triangles. Every time you add a side length, you're adding a triangle. Make sense? Kinda? Think about a square. How many triangles are in it? 2. All right, I want you guys to give this one a try. Okay. 103 plus 54 plus x equals 180. What's 103 plus 54? And what am I going to do? Did you guys get 23 degrees? So I'm going to double check that. That gives me 157. That gives you 10, carry the 1. So I get 180. Okay, let's go to the next page. Okay, sometimes they're going to give it to you like this. Notice we're starting to get an equation in here. You don't actually physically have to have the triangle drawn to do this. I'm telling you, the triangle has 3 angles. Here's my 3 angles. Okay, we have to first find the value of x, is what it's asking for. So we know that 70 plus 3x minus 10 plus 7x all is going to equal how much? 180. Because every triangle degree measure is 180. Combine like terms, so I have a 3x and a 7x. So what do I have all together? 10x. I have a 70 and a negative 10. So how much do I have all together? What should I do now? Minus 60. What's 180 take away 60? 120. And finally, I'm going to divide. X equals 12. I left room down here for us. I'm just going to slide this up. We're still talking about, notice we're still talking about the same thing, right? Now it says find the measure of each angle. So we already know that angle Y is 70 degrees. Angle O is going to equal 3 times 12 minus 10. So we got to figure out that angle. What's 3 times 12? Minus 10. So this angle measure is 26. And now angle U. And this M, this is just the measure of angle U. That's all it means. So I have 7 times 12. What's 7 times 12? 84 degrees. Now what do you suppose the last thing I'm going to do? Check it. I'm going to make sure all 3 of these add to what? 180. So 70 plus 26 plus 84 equals, all right, 10. That's 10. That's 10. That's 8. And it does, 180. Okay, are we ready? I believe I just have one last one for you. And it's just like what we did for you to try now. In the triangle, MAN, the measure of M is 66. The measure of A is 6x minus 8. And the measure of N is 2x plus 6. So, we should see this. All equal to 180. I want you to combine like term and solve for x. All right, let's talk about this. I combined like terms. So I have 6x and 2x, which gives me 8x. Now I have all this to combine. 66 plus a negative 8 plus a 6. What's that give me? Okay. Oops. I'm going to subtract that 64. What's 180 subtract 64?
16.
And I'm finally going to do what?
Divide by 8.
X equals? $14.5. I will give you decimals like that. That's okay. Now you need to put that in for each one. I know that angle M is 66 degrees. Angle A is 6 times 14.5 minus 8. So 6 times 14.5 gives me 87. Take away 8 would be 81 degrees. Okay, do we understand?
Mason Witt, Aubrey Reinhardt, and Derek.
All right,
Jones of
go ahead and put things away.